Hello and welcome back to the channel where we're building a game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we planned out some roadmap stuff for the road to getting a demo finished for the game. And I think we sort of decided that we're going to go after some of the more difficult things to create. So we're working on what I'm calling like destructibles slash pushables, because by the time you get to the end of the dungeon, you unlock the green tunic of strength, which will allow you to either destroy certain objects or push certain objects. So that'll be our way of kind of unlocking the first forest biome. You kind of push a big log out of the way and then you can walk through the entry in the forest, I think. So that's going to be one of the toughest things to do, so that's what we're going to be working on. My reasoning for that was like to get all the uphill stuff out of the way first when we have a lot of energy, and then we can kind of coast. You know, the closer we get to being done with the demo, the easier things are left, so that it'll feel kind of like coasting downhill once we get over the hump. So we've got to think about a couple of things. We need a system to render these destructibles or pushables on our map, which right now we don't really have a way of doing it, because what we do have is a 2D array of enums that our data downloader makes, you know, a list of, it's 80 tiles total. It's a table of 80 tile IDs, and it references 80 values from the top left, 8 tiles across, down to the next row, 8 tiles across, down to the next row, 8 tiles across. So all the enums are kind of in place for rendering the background. But when we think about like something like a pushable, there's no one spot that it kind of lives at. So we need to come up with another way of inserting movable tiles, right? So it'll probably be outside of our map tile sheet or whatever we call it. So like if we look at our map, we have this tiles table, and then we have an above ground tiles table, and we're kind of rendering all of this stuff statically. But yeah, we need a way, you know, we're cycling through all of our table of tiles and go ahead and render each one. Same with our above ground tiles. And then I guess we need to come up with a way where, one, we can place the object and then have our player know it's a collidable object so that we can't walk over it. And ideally we have it where we can insert it on any X and Y tile index in a screen so that we can place it anywhere we want. And maybe, yeah, I don't think it makes sense to do it in tiled. Tiled is our program we're using to draw the maps. So like if we were to have a layer, for example, like a layer of movables or destructibles, it gets messy because these things can move or be destroyed, and then we have to update the table anyway. So I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have them drawn. I think we're going to want to manually insert them. So it's easy enough to say, hey, give us a pushable object at an X and Y location of, you know, a tile, row, and column. And it's easy enough for having our character to not collide with it. The tricky part is getting it to move. Like if we push it, one, we need to change our character's animation to be a pushing animation, and then once he's pushed a whole second worth or whatever, we need to allow that brick to move, that pushable to move, if the space on the other side of the push is empty and not surrounded by collidable objects or whatever. So that becomes a tricky problem too, because in order to know if we can push a brick or a crate, for example, we have to know what tile ID is sitting at the corresponding row and column of the tile, right? So like if we have a crate right here and we're trying to push it left, there's something to say about, we'd have to ask, okay, well, what tile is on the other side of the push? And we see it's row 1, column 8 on the other side of the push. But then we have to ask, in any of the layers, in the tile base layer or the above ground layer, because that's what we've got here. We have a ground level, that's our tiles, our dot tiles field, and then we have another layer above ground level, and that is just rendering on top of everything else. So we have to check both of those layers and check if it is a tile ID of our certain value, because the way we are doing this is any tile in this height, all these red squares here, if any tile is inside any of these bounds, then it's a tile that can't be walked over by our character. That's just how we did it. There's different things we can do. Like we could do a collidable layer. I know Sasquatch was mentioning we should do that as a collidable layer. I think I'm actually forgetting what the issue was when I went to go and try to do that. Yeah, so maybe we do want to go back and do that, or I think there was a reason I didn't end up going that route. I'm just blanking on it right now. So, yeah, the math to do the pushing is quite challenging to me. And then in the level design process, we kind of just have to make sure that certain things can only be pushed. I guess we would reset the pushable item. I don't know. Because it's like if we push something out of the way, we don't want to have to, if we leave the screen and come back, we don't want to have to push it out of the way again to unblock that path. But if someone were to push it, let's say in front of the door or something, and it can get stuck in front of the door, I guess we just would design it so that you can't get it stuck in front of a door, so that you can't accidentally break it. And I mean, this comes to a whole nother issue of, if we have a pushable item and we put it here, for example, if we're on the screen beneath it and try to walk up into it, we would collide and then it would move us on either side, which could come up with some weird bugs. So that's why, like, we might have some. I'm thinking of like in Zelda, when you discover a secret, it plays the little secret jingle. So like maybe certain things like pushing a log out of the way to unlock the forest biome will play that little jingle. And if it's one of those jingles, it's like a key item push, if that makes any sense. Like a once you've pushed it, then it kind of lives in that area and it's just done. And then that way, if we have any other pushables like crates or something, and if you push it in the way, if you walk off screen and you come back, it'll be reset to its original position so that you can't accidentally, leave it in a spot and then walk into it on a scene transition and get all thrown off by the collision detection. So there's a lot of stuff to think about. I'm trying to think of the reason why I didn't do a layer of collidable map objects. Because if we go that route, we can have something like water. Well, the water's a whole nother issue because we are going to be able to swim at some point, so that needs to be able to be either collided with or not collided with, depending on what tunic is equipped, so that becomes a whole other issue. Yeah, I think it became hard. Let's look at when we do our collidable map object logic. Collidable map object. We've got right here we have a table of collidable map objects in the given map, and the map is just one scene. We're asking if the tile ID is a number between those rows of red triangles or squares, and if so, then we're going to insert collidable map object in that location, and that acts as a barrier. If we were to go the other route of having a layer in our tiled output to be collidable map objects, I guess we would go through and we would have to ask, we would go through in our data downloader and have a whole table of collidable map tiles, and we would say if the collidable map tile does not equal 0, meaning we drew something on that layer, then we can go ahead and insert a collidable map object in that same location. I think that can work. I know I wanted to try to do this, and then I think I remember us deciding not to do it. So I don't know if that was just because of lazy or because of another issue. Okay. So where do we start? I guess we can start making a class of pushables, right? And there's a pushable. It can either be a log, a boulder, a crate, or something like that. I don't know if I want to have pushables and destructibles, because I want crates to be able to be breakable so that you can find like rupees and stuff in there. It's gonna be, yeah. My brain is like stalling on it, because I know this is one of the harder parts, but this is why we chose it, because I'm feeling the resistance for it. But we can just take it one step at a time and try to do a pushable. Like, let's just say we're not worried about destructibles just yet. We're just worried about pushables. So we'll just do boulders and logs. Those will be our two pushables for now, at least. And we'll need to make a class of pushable, give it a sprite image, and then give us a way to insert it into any map we want and be able to render it so that we can place it and render it and have the player not be able to walk over it, right? Because it needs to exist in the game. You can't just walk on top of it. So if we can get that far, that'd be a good start. Okay, so we're going to do this pushable class. So let's go over here. We'll go into our source folder. This is where all of our classes go. And we'll make a pushable.lua. And in here, we have to give ourselves I think we title it like this with curly brace. Pushable gets a class, and then function pushable init. And then we need an update. And then we need a render. Okay, so we know our pushable needs an X, a Y. The width and height is going to be our tile size, but it's nice to have them addressable here for AABB collision. So we will have a tile size as our width and height. We will init the pushable with an X and a Y, as well as probably a sprite option or a type option. And then our type is going to get whatever string we pass as type. Our X and Y is going to get whatever we pass as our X and Y. And ideally, the move we want to do is be able to say, give me a pushable at 1, 1. 1, 1 would be the top left tile. If we say, like the parameter here, X and Y, we want to give this the number of the tile index. We don't want to give it number in pixels. Like, we don't want to have to say, oh, 360 pixels and then 245 pixels down. We want to be able to say, third row, second column, insert a pushable there. So what we're going to do is modify our X and Y to be equal to the pixel value of the row and column parameter that we pass in. So if we pass in 1, we need to have it be equal to 0, because 0, 0 would be the top left. That would be tile 1, 1. So, you know, what is it? We would minus a tile size on each. We have to multiply it by, what do? We say whatever X is, we multiply it by our tile size, and then we subtract a tile size. That seems weird, but I think that's right, because it's like, we shouldn't need the parentheses here, but I think it's useful. Okay, so what this does, if we pass in 1, 1, 1 times tile size is 16, 1 times tile size is 16, and then we do minus 16, minus 16, that gives us a 0, 0 on the X and Y. That'd be correct for 1, 1. If we give it 2, 2 times 16 is 32, minus 16 is 16. Yeah, that'll be at, yeah, I think that's right, to give us the pixel calculation for the row and column declaration. And then we have a width and height. Everything is just a tile size. We have a type. Okay, we will set the image based on the type. So, like, you know, if our type equals a log, then we will set our image to equal the log drawable. And we can say else if our type is equal to boulder, then we would set our image to be equal to our boulder drawable. So we don't have these drawables yet. We don't even have the sprite art for it yet. Else if is one word, right? No? Else if, oh, it's because we don't have this. Let's just put a number in here so we get the colors. So we need to get the images in here, but we're assigning the image based on the type parameter that we pass into the init. So the last part of this part is going to be adding our draw function, and we're going to draw a drawable of our image, and we'll draw it at the pixel location of our X and our Y. And then we don't need a width and height because the drawable takes care of that. Okay, so we have our class pushable. We need to go into our dependencies and require this so our game knows what a pushable is. So where is our dependencies? Yeah. So as long as we have it after our constants, we should be okay here. So we're going to say require our new pushable class. And if we take a look at our inventory class, we say inventory gets class with those brackets. That's what we just did for our pushable. So let's harpoon this. We have easy access to it. It looks like we've got that right. So we can make a quick mock-up of a login boulder so that we can at least try placing this, and then we can worry about collision and stuff, and then we can worry about pushing and stuff. So let's try to make just some quick pixel art for it. We're at 16 by 16 tiles. Let's do a little log. I really need to figure out how to reuse the same color palette so that we're not drawing like random colors. So doesn't so much look like a log. It does not look like a log. Looks like a barrel. That's what it really looks like. We might need to do like a little branch off the top here to make it look more like a log. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it needs to be more wood colored. That's going to be our log for now. This is just the placeholder, right? We're just trying to get it to work. This will be so easy to fix after this, but let's do an export as a PNG. We'll save it in our graphics folder as log.png, and we'll export it, and then we need a boulder. So let's make a little boulder. We're just going to make like a kind of rounded bottom boulder. Okay, I don't know if that color is so great for it. So maybe we can just have a little bit of shading going on the bottom here. Whatever. That'll be our boulder. Just placeholder. Save it as a PNG, export it, and then I want to find a better way of importing. If we look at our constants, we do have See, like our drawables should be here in constants, but instead they're in dependencies, which is a little weird. We kind of have them up here. I don't really like that, but let's just stick. We'll put them in the same spot so that we can, when we refactor, we can move them all at once, and it's not a big deal. So we'll say graphics, boulder, PNG, and a log. Now, without the local, this is a global variable we're declaring, which I feel like is a bad thing, but I don't know how to make it accessible anywhere without it being global. So we've got graphics, log, PNG, and boulder. Cool. So now that our game knows about pushables, it's a class, we just need to initialize it and give it the X and Y and a type. So we have to think about how we're gonna render all of our pushables. So I think if we go to our map declarations, there could be pushables in any scene. So all of our scenes need to have a reference to their own pushables table. So in our map declarations, we're going to say, whenever we initialize all the maps, we're going to make sure each of those maps has a .pushables table to store all the pushables. Right, so I'm thinking, since there's not going to be 80 pushables in one scene. Like at most there's going to be like 2 or 3, I feel like, or maybe 8 in a dungeon or something. So I feel like if what we do is put the objects of our pushables in this table, or as long as those have an X and Y and a type, we can then just cycle through as long as pushables is not empty and just render every pushable object in the current map, and then we'll be able to see it. So, like, where do we render our warp zones, for example? Right here, look at, it's something like this, where this is in our map. We would cycle through, let's just say like this is render pushables, because this is going to be similar. We're going to say, well, first of all, we're going to check the map that we're currently at and see if it has any pushables to render. So we're going to say, hey, is your .pushables table at index 1 not equal to nil? If it is not equal to nil, and maybe not nil, because if empty is different than nil is like unassigned, so it might be not nil but not empty. I don't know. Warp zones. It worked for warp zones. Pushables 1. Oh, okay. No, this should work because we're indexing into the table, and if our .pushables is an empty table, then a pushables at index 1 will be nil because we haven't actually explicitly assigned it. So we can do this where we can say, we actually want to cycle through all the pushables. Right now we can just, we're just trying to get a pushable on screen and making sure that's working. So we do something like this and cycle through and render each one. So we can say for key value in the pairs of pushables in this current map. So self.row call pushables. We want to go ahead and take the value of that pushable object and go ahead and just render it. And we have to render it at the map's adjacent offset, because if we don't do that, it won't scroll off screen when we do a scene transition. So we need to spell pushables right. And then now we need to initialize a pushable in a scene. So we have the class. We messed up on 306. Pushables. Okay, we should not crash just yet. Okay, so we need to put, if we take a look at what scene we're in when we spawn, it's 7.3, right? 7.2. So let's try to insert a pushable into our 7.2 map. So let's go into our declarations here. And we'll put, where do we put the warp zones? Wherever we add the warp zones, we can add after that. So there's our insert warp zone. Yeah. So if our warp zone and entities get added here, we can say after we add our entities, I guess after dialog box 2, let's just test doing this. So we're gonna insert into our pushables table at our 7.2. That's where we spawn. So we're gonna say 7.2 pushables, and we're gonna insert a pushable object from the class we just made, and it takes in 3 arguments, an x and y, and a width and a height. So let's say for now just 1, and we'll give it log as a string. Okay, so our pushables table now has 1 pushable object, so now we have an index in pushables index 1. Now I don't think we have to do, I get confused with the table indexing. Like if you put it in curly braces, then it becomes indexable. I'm forgetting how we do that, but let's if we test it and it works, then we don't need to do the curly brace. But I know that has solved some issues in the past for us. Okay. We have a pushable object inside our map 7.2, and then we have, if we look at our pushable declaration, we're checking the type for a type string to be log. Okay, here we need to assign the proper image, which we have the global image now. So if the type is log, our image is log. If it's boulder, our image is boulder, and that's the global that we're rendering as a drawable here in our draw function. So we're not rendering any pushables just yet, and actually if we go to render pushables, I think we are, because we added the v render, yeah, at the adjacent offset x. This does a render function take optional parameters here to offset the x? It must. Let's see if we get a log on screen. No. 358 on map declarations. Global pushables a nil value. That's because our dependencies has map declaration. Where do we do map declaration? We have our map declarations before we have our pushables, or no? No, our pushables up here. Pushable with an S or no? Pushable. Okay. So it's not pushable with an S, it's just pushable. Okay, hey, look at that. Our log is up there. It's colored wrong. So let's color it correct here, and we'll say before we draw it, we're gonna set our color to white before we draw it, and then instead of putting it at 1-1, let's put it elsewhere. Let's say we're gonna put it at 3-3. See where that is. Now the 3-3 should be 3 rows over, 3 columns down. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks at 3-3. Cool. Oh, yeah, I want to see that. Okay, so now what that does is it should stay tracked. See, look, like this is the bad thing, where we just walk over it because our player's rendering on top of it. It does track with the offset. Ooh, although, it doesn't come back on screen for the offset. So we have to make sure the begin transition, how do we do that? It does render it. In our map. Okay, we have. It's not picking up the offset on the way back. I know we have fixed this, like, you know, we're not having that issue with other stuff like an NPC. We're doing this adjacent offset. I don't know how we fix this. It goes off fine. It just doesn't get placed until we're done moving. Like, it knows it's there, but when it renders it, it doesn't render. What happened there? Why did I scoot so far up? Why does that happen? Why do I teleport? Why? Yeah, why do I teleport up there for that move? There, I'm fine. Here, what the heck is that? Why do I get all moved? What the heck? It's like I'm being pushed. Let me see if we take out... Was that always there? Like, was that a mistake yesterday that we missed? Well, I don't see the issue anymore. Oh! What? What is going on? Why does it do that? It's triggering a... I don't know what it's doing. Is it triggering a warp zone? The only thing I could think of is, like, there's a warp zone right here. You know? And that's about the height... That's about the Y height that it's moving us to up here. It's always something, right? Like, I don't know how we even debug that. I don't know what's causing that. I don't know what would cause that. Okay, I mean, how are we getting, you know, everything else is sticking onto the screen on the way back, just not our pushable. So what are we doing wrong with our pushable render? We'll have to be able to track down that weird bug. I don't know what could be causing that. Okay, going off is fine. It's just coming back on. So So I think if we take a look at the NPC, does it take a offset, adjacent offset or something? Adjacent offset is the value that we're kind of scrolling off screen. But the fact that it goes off, correct? Maybe it's because we're rendering it in the map instead of the scene. No, we're doing our NPCs and entities here in the map. So let's just take a look at our NPC render and see if we're requiring any special. What? This is an NPC object. So where is that? We don't have an NPC object? We have a .npc, which is what? An entity. It's just an entity. Okay, so let's take a look at our entity render. It does have the adjacent offset X in the render. So we need to do this adjacent offset X shift on this. I never really understood why we did this. It's like before we render the state machine, we're offsetting our X position, then we render, and then we like reset our position after the render. I never really understood why we did that. Let's do something like this for our pushable. And before we render, yeah, we're gonna take our self X and we're gonna modify it with this adjacent offset. If there is one. And then we're gonna draw, and then we have to unshift it so that we can apply the adjacent offset again. Yeah. Something like that. Let's see. It should stick off screen. Nice. Okay, so that's sticking now. We need to make it not collidable. And we need to figure out what the heck's going on right here. Is there an entity hidden over there that we're... The only thing I can think of... Okay, so here's my thought. I think we're checking collision. Okay, yeah, so hear me out. I think it's, well, that's so strange. It doesn't break right here, so that kind of throws off my theory. Because what's happening is our player's up at the top of the screen, and when we shift, we become at the bottom of the screen. That means we go from up here to down here, and in that passing, we cross a non-collidable object. So at some point, when we're traveling through during the transition, we cross paths with a non-collidable object, and then I think it senses a collision, so it's saying, oh, we bottom collide with this collidable object, therefore the bottom of us needs to be at the top of the collidable object. Therefore, it's teleporting us above the tree, but it doesn't do it over here, which I would think it would. What the heck? Ay. Is there something in the tile? The tiled something? Let's see if we come into our tiled and we There is one thing I wanted to fix in our tiled over in our dungeon. Where is it? Up here. There is an above ground tile that's wrong. Yeah, this. This is at a top level. Yeah, we need to erase this. And then that should be okay. Okay. And then oh god, I think I just did it again. Okay. So let's see. We need our ground level tile. And we will not that. Okay, I'm going to erase the tree that's here and see if that issue is still there, and then we can at least narrow it down to where am I at? Okay, let's erase this tree for now. Now the tree is in the above ground layer. So let's just erase it. There should be grass underneath still. And we'll save this and we'll just see if that issue is still there. We'll do a save as a global map. Actually, it's an export as a global map.lua. That's what our data downloader runs through. And then now when we run it, it should not be there. And let's see. Okay, so no tree. We can walk in that space now. And it doesn't seem... Oh, it is. What the... Okay, so that theory was wrong. And what's weird is it doesn't do it all the time, so that's like extra weird. I'm thinking there's like a leftover entity. Well, oh, what the fuck? That is so strange. Well, it's not the tree. I thought for sure it had something to do with the tree, but it is not. Why does it do that? Oh. I guess we can check and see if collision is done during a scene transition. Because we should not do any collision during a scene transition, first and foremost. So let's... This is something I didn't think we'd have to troubleshoot, but it's always something. The other thing, it could be a warp zone. Well, I don't see... The warp zone isn't very close. It's like we're spawning kind of close to it, but we're not being triggered anywhere near it, so I don't get why. Man, I don't know. I don't know what could be triggering that. Let's take a look at our player class and just make sure we're not doing any. Now, do we pass in a scene to our player? No, we don't. But maybe... Oh my... What just happened there, man? I did not... I hit J and it deleted everything. Okay, so look. If not scene view shifting, then go ahead and do this stuff. So where is our collision here? Okay, so in the update, if we're not dead, we're gonna do our colliding for our pit, but not anything else. Where do we check player collision? Is that in the entity? Because our player is technically... Yeah, our player is an entity, so let's make sure our entity collision is only if not scene view shifting. See, all of these collides with target. All of these collides with target. Where do we run the enemy collides? Entity collides. I guess we can say if our scene view, oh my gosh, if our scene view is shifting, then we can return what we were, else return false, because we can't be colliding if we're shifting. Let's see if that fixes it. I don't know. Nope. I don't even know it's a collision problem. That's just kind of what I'm guessing. I guess we could have to add some more advanced debugging to our player to kind of start to pick out why that might be happening. Let's see if our boulder is able to be rendered. And you know what? Let me see. I want to see if it's on the deployment here too. Damn it, it is. What the heck, man? Yeah, I guess we can try toggling out the entity. The other thing I can think of is we used to have an entity up here in this area. And we moved him to be in here, so maybe we didn't remove him correct, and it thinks when we're scene transitioning, we collide with the entity, another NPC. I don't know. But that is jacked. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to our map declarations, and we'll see if we can get a boulder instead. Let's try to do boulder here. Okay, cool. So we can get a boulder. We need to do some collision detection. We want our tree back, because that wasn't even the issue. Okay. Let's see if we do an NPC of the villager 1. We do a mage index 7-2, villager 2 in 211. That's sounds right. Just any 7-2 NPC. Villager 1. Yeah, we don't have him anymore in 7-2. Yeah. Oh. Oh no, just the mage. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if we comment out our mage NPC, if we still have that issue. I don't know what's causing it. Where's our mage? Okay, our mage is gone. Yeah, it's still busted. Okay. I don't know what to try to fix this, man. I mean, it's not the tree, it's not the mage. It's not any NPCs, I don't think. We could try taking out the warp zone, because I don't know what else to try. Yeah, we can try taking out the warp zone from the tavern here. Nope. So without the warp zone, you know, we're not teleporting. I thought it could possibly be the warp zone because we're like at the Y of the warp zone essentially. And it doesn't matter that our boulder's at 3-3. It still messes up. I don't know how to debug it. Let's try 4-4 for a boulder. It'll still mess up. Yeah. Why do we slide is like what I really want to know. It's sliding as if we're colliding with one of these holes. Yeah, it could be this, because like, see how this thing pulls us and we're only getting triggered. Oh yeah, I think it is with the pit. It is with the pit. Okay, I think it is the pit because it's kind of pulling. Okay, so let's try to take out the pit. Do we call it pits? I think we do call it pits. Nice pits. Okay, so we have a pits. Where do we initialize our pits, man? We have a pits here. Table insert pits. If our tile ID is equal to pits, we insert a pits. Okay, so this is weird. Okay, so where do we do our pits collision? It's in a pit class. So let's go into our pit class, and we'll say, let's say we only collide if you know, we only do this stuff. We say if not scene view shifting, then we can go ahead and check if our player is colliding. If so, return true. And then else, return false. So let's see that. Let's make sure that we collide in the pits. We still collide in the pits. Let's see if we mess up here. Did that fix it? It's hard because I couldn't get a specific X and Y to trigger it. Hey, Basie. Hey, thank you for the raid, man. Hey, welcome in, raiders. We're working on... Hey, Basie, how was your stream? What were you working on? We're doing, we're trying to add pushables into the game. So I have a very crappy boulder here that I added. We just fixed a bug we didn't realize was in our build. So that's cool. But we've got, if we go to our pushables, we have two types of pushables right now. We have a log and a boulder. So we're just testing adding it in. It's like, there's our crappy log. It looks like a barrel almost, but good raid break. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Do your thing. Hope you had a good stream. I'm on the road to try to make a demo for this game. So my theory was to try to pick the most difficult things I had left for the demo and try to tackle those first, so that it gets easier and easier as I get closer to finishing the demo. So we're working on adding pushables, which is just a part of the puzzle solving, right? To like push bricks out of the way or logs out of the way. So the end of our first dungeon in our demo, you're going to unlock the green tunic of strength. So if your green tunic is equipped, then you can actually push these immovable objects. So we're at the very beginning stage of adding the pushables, where we just got them rendering on screen at whatever index we have. And we just fixed them scrolling off and on screen appropriately. So now we need to add collision detection so we can't just walk over them. And then we'll have to make new sprites for like a pushing animation. Hey Loki, what's up? I'm surprised, I guess I'm pleased with how much progress I have done so far today. I want to at least get our collisions working for these pushables so we can't walk through them. So I guess in our entity class, we can add if it collides with... Oh, we do have a collides with a target already for AABB. So we would just need to run this collides method for every pushable in the current map. And hey, Basie, totally get it. Thanks for the raid, man. I hope you have a good dinner and a good night. Thanks for the raid, dude. Yeah, have a good one. So yeah, we need to just test the collision on all of our pushables now. So if we look at our map, where is our map? We're testing collision for pits and stuff. So let's see. Player to entity collision, so we can add maybe player to pushables collision here. So if we're not shifting, and this is kind of where we messed up. If we had done our pit collision within this not shifting, that would have fixed our issue without modifying the collide method for the pits. So I'm thinking maybe we move our pits. Oh yeah. You know what? I'm thinking if we move our pits, logic into the not shifting, we can fix that issue. Yeah, we should have it here in the not scene view shifting. We put it right here. Okay. Those. Okay. Okay. I really don't like the end. I cannot keep my wits about me with that. Okay. This is pits. Okay. So this end is the pits. And then this end would be the not scene view shifting, or this one. Oh, see, yeah, this needs to exist outside of the entity. So our pits needs to be... I might have screwed up. No, this is the not shifting. Okay. But yeah, we need our pits to be outside of this entity loop. So we'll just make sure it's out of that. No way we did that right. That's disgusting. No way we did that. Okay. Okay. That might be right. It just, yeah, it made sense to have it paired with the rest of that logic for the not scene view shifting. We shouldn't have to do the method adjustment here. Yeah, so we'll take this out. Okay, let's see. We were having this weird bug where we were teleporting up half the screen when we go up here, so it looks like we've got it figured out. What was happening was like this pit here. This pit is like that drags us into the pit, right? So like what was happening is like when we were walking to the next screen, our player goes from the top of the screen to the bottom, and in that transition our player passed the pit. Therefore it triggered like the gravity to being pulled towards the pit, so it like teleported us up to where the pit was and kind of pulled us in. So it took me a little while to find that bug, but now no pits should be exerting any effect over the character during its scene transition, because in our entity class we now do our pit collision or our pit gravity only if our scene view is not shifting. It's not. Okay, so I think I need to find, where do we do? Okay, so if this is our pit here, we need to now test our collision for any pushables. So we're going to cycle through any of our map at index, what is it, self.row. Self.row, self.column. So we need to go through our pushables table. Come on, man. Okay. It would have been easier to just type it out. Self.row, self.column, pushables. So we cycle through our pushables, and then we need to check our player for colliding with the pushables. So our player is an entity, and our entity has a collides with a target method. So we should be able to just say if our global player collides with the value, the actual pushable object, then we need to reset its position. Well, we have is he okay? So I'm not sure. Thanks, Loki. I'm not sure. We can't just ask if it collides, period. We need to know how it collides so that we can set the appropriate. First of all, let's just say if we collide, we're going to set our player's X to just 0. We're going to set our player X and Y to 0, and just to test that the collision is working for the pushable. So when we collide with the pushable, we should be moved up. Okay, it does. It didn't show it because there's 2 collidable objects here. So if we go lower on the Y, it'll show us that we move it. So maybe like 50, 60, I don't know. So we have collision detection for the pushable. But yeah, we need to do, if we look at our entity, we split this out, and I am very much teaching myself game dev, so like I don't know the right way to do basically anything, but the way I've got it is like I have a specific collisions for any side. So we can run these specific collides function, and we can say if we left collide, what is it? Oh god, what did I do? Left collides map object. Okay, that's what we did. Where is it? There it is. Left collides map object. Okay. So we need to reset. We need to do different things depending on which collision. So like if we have a left collision, we need to move our player. Or if our player left collides with an object, then we need to move it to the right side of the object. So our X will be whatever our collidable's X plus our collidable's width is. And our Y would remain untouched, I think. Let's see. So if we collide left, it should, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be that gross. Yeah, we left collide, so we do that. I mean, why does that look so... Because, like, that's not happening here, right? It's all nice and smooth here, even though we can't walk on it. Okay. If we right collide, we need our X to be equal to the left side of our object minus the player's width. If we top collide, we need to go to the bottom of this object. So we will set our Y to be equal to the Y of our object plus the object's height. And if we bottom collide, we need to go, top collide? Yeah, if we bottom collide, we need to go to the top of the object we collided with. So if we bottom collide, then we need to go to the top of the object, which would be the Y minus the player's height. Okay, so we should have some basic collision for the... See, why does it look so bad? Why are we, like, all jittery? What's the difference between colliding with this thing, which is nice? Is it the order? I mean, what is it? Where are we doing? Huh. I don't get why it's so rough, because we're modifying the position before we render, so it should just collide. We reset, but then are we updating our position afterwards? No? Yeah, it is just square colliders. But what's weird is, I mean, all of my stuff has been AABB collision, and I'm not getting the jitters on the other stuff. Like, all of this stuff... Oh my goodness. All of the other stuff is fine. So I'm thinking it's like the order, you know? Like, we're not getting jitters there. Our box is getting jitters there, but we weren't. Yeah, it's like we're not getting jitters on anything but this thing. I feel like it's just the order. Let's see where we do a left object collides, or left map object collides. What is it? What is it called? Collides map object. So let's look at, not that. Let's look where we're doing the other collisions. We're doing it in the scene, not in the map. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I by static function, do you mean like global, where like anything can use just like the function period? I feel like we need to put it here in our scene instead of our map, which our scene, it's a little weird to explain, but our map is like what we're currently looking at, but our scene is also what we're currently looking at, but also a reference to the next map as we shift it. So I think I want to go and take all of our, not our pit. See, and then with this logic, like our pit collision should probably be in the scene as well, as opposed to the map. I don't know. Let's take our pushables out of the map and try to put it in the scene. And we'll do it right here. And we'll say, if not scene shifting, right? If not self.shifting, then we need to check collision for our pushables. And it's not self.row, it's self.map row. Okay, let's see that. Oh, well, that's okay. Oh, that looks okay. Why? It's fine for left, and that one's fine, and then this one's jacked up and the other one's... Are we doing top collide V plus V height? Setting RY to be the bottom of the map object, yeah. And then left collides was also wrong, so we're setting our player's X to be the map object's X plus, yeah. Okay, I don't know why does that look so wrong? Oh, it's because, okay, I know why that one's wrong. That's because we're not colliding with, see how like our head goes in front of the tree here and goes in front of this thing. So we have a little bit of a, forget what I call it. It's but okay, it should be defined in our collision function. Collision buffer, that's just what it's called, okay. So we need to set our top to be the bottom, but then minus the collision buffer. So that should fix that one, but it doesn't... Nope. Top collides. We top collide. We set ourselves, yeah, to the bottom of the... Did we we mess this up? That is so jacked up. Okay, so top collides. What do we do it? Top collides. Oh, what the heck? Okay, collision buffer is something else. Oh god. We've got nasty magic numbers in here hiding. Okay, it's just, it looks like it's... Yeah, the -6. I think it is -6. I hate that I put these numbers. Why did I do this? Yeah, I put all the... I hate that I did this. But what's stupid is, like, there's a 1, a 3, a 2, and an 8. 1, 3, 2, and 8. And then there's a 3, 3, 6, and 8. Then a 3, 3, 2. Why did I do this? I know. I hate myself for this. But looking at it, it's like, what, like, I'm already, like, naming stupid stuff like collision buffer, flame collision buffer. Like, that's just as helpful as a freaking magic number. Like, I need to come up with better names. Okay, well, let's just say that. Let's just try to get it. I'll think about what I can rename that stuff to, but we're looking if the... Yeah, it should be the +6 for the top. Which means we minus a 6 when we move us. Gosh, I don't want to put the magic number in there. Okay, well, at least that fixes that. Okay, so what's wrong is this one. Why would... Oh, well, that is weird. That is strange. Because, like, sometimes it lands us where we have 1 pixel of gap between our nose and the thing, but then, yeah, then there we're not. We don't have that gap. So why? Left collides. When you looked at something, your grid offset was also 6. Was that in the collisions here somewhere? Oh god, that is so bad. I don't even remember what I was doing with grid offset. I don't know what that is. It is confusing to me that why would... So our left collide and our right collide have different numbers. Collision buffer, somewhere around here. What the... What's weird is our left collide, I believe we're using our left collide for like a collide, yeah, like collidable. Oh my god, why? Why? Oh god, this is so bad. We have to fix this. That's disgusting. You know, -1 for the left collide, so it is correct. Because, you know. Why is that so bad? Okay. Now, I guess if it... Oh, see, this is jacked up. Yeah, we need a +1. We need a +1 on our right collision. This is so bad. Okay, so I think we need to figure out how we can address this so that we don't have to play these games for certain stuff. Like maybe maybe we change our collision function to not just return a boolean, but to actually modify our player's X and Y positions so that we don't have to set it upon a collision, but running the collision method on it, if it collides, will then move its position. Because this is disgusting to have to do this. -1, +1, -6. Like, why is bottom collides the only one that works right out the box? Because we had to do this for the map, collidable map objects too, which is just disgusting. So I don't like that one bit. But we did give us the ability to add a pushable object into a scene and have it remain there and have us not collide with it. And right now we have two different abilities for spawning. We can spawn either a boulder or a log as a pushable. The boulder looks a lot prettier than the log. They're just placeholder stuff, but the next step would be, well, the real next step is to fix our nasty magic number functions so that it works without being so nasty. And then the step after that would be to make a different state for the player walking, where if an input is held and we're adjacent to a pushable, that our state machine animation would be the pushing animation. Because even if you don't have the green tunic and you can't yet push the boulder, it should look like he's pushing it, right? Like if you're pushing up against it, it looks like he's trying to. I guess it depends. Like, do we do it if he's pushing up against? Because like a house you can't push, but like at any time in the game you can't push a house. But should he go into his pushing animation if he's holding a direction? And because the walking into the house like that doesn't look so great, you know? So like, does it make sense that he'd be pushing into the water if he can't reach the water? It makes, yeah, I don't know. I guess, you know, it's up to us as the game designer to kind of make these decisions. I'm kind of leaning towards, other than water's an exception. I think walking, it would look stupid to me if he was pushing against the water. But anything else should be, wow. And you know what? I think is our bottom collision off by 1 on the signpost? Oh no, the signpost is just, doesn't reach the very top of the tile. When behind a rock, should not character go like 3 pixels down, like into the rock? 3 pixels down. What do you mean 3 pixels down? Because it's kind of like we're doing like a faux 3D here with some of the stuff. Like we gave it a little bit. It's not true collision. That way it looks behind the rock. You know, oh yeah, I thought about that. Hey, Elemental, hey, thank you for the raid. You know, I thought about letting us, cause just like how we're supposed to go in front of the tree, like the tree should be able to go in front of us. I think, hey, Calcifer, what's up? I thought about that, and I came to a conclusion that I didn't want to do that. And I think, you know, I'm not sure why I decided it. I think it's because, you know what? I don't know. I don't know, because it does kind of make sense. I think the order of operations for the render layer, you know, it's like we've got a couple different layers of sprites. We have the ground level, we have the above ground level, then we have a top level tile that goes like above our head here. So like our player's going above the first two layers, and this one's going above us. So we have the ability to have an above ground level layer. The render order is what gets really tricky about trying to have like the boulder go in front of us or whatever, because then we need to, well, I guess for something like a pushable, it would be easier because we can render that after the player. It's just it gets confusing because our player has to exist on top of the maps, but I don't know. I'll keep thinking about it, because I think I came to that conclusion that I wasn't going to mess with that before I got the different layers working for the above or top level tile is what I call it. So like for this rendering above us. But I'll do some more thinking. Hey, thanks for the raid, Elemental. I appreciate it. I hope you had a good stream. Yeah, welcome in. We're doing a little Game Boy style game. It is got magic. So like we've got little orbs of spell casting you can equip, and the idea is you can cast spells, and we're kind of like, there's these corrupted geckos that are attacking us, and we can kind of cleanse them, turn them into normal geckos again. So we're not about, we're not trying to kill the animals in this world. We're trying to help them. So the game's about kind of achieving some balance in the ecosystem and everything. So we're working on trying to get the demo in a decent shape. So we're trying to add these pushable objects, which we're working on right now. So I think now that we've got the pushable class, we need to make him pushing against it, and then we'll have to make the call. I think if it's a collidable map object, we'll do the pushing. So like he'll push up against the house. Maybe we'll just keep it for the water, because we have to do something with the water, because right now there's no way for us to collide with the water. But ideally, once we unlock the blue tunic, you can go swimming and swim to other parts of the map. So we need to rehaul the water anyway, so that'll probably be a unique case for our pushing animation. But I think for now, and for the demo's sake, we'll probably just try to get the pushing working on any immovable object. So we'll have like a continuous input checker, and if we're colliding while we're holding an input, then we need to assign the appropriate pushing animation, which also goes for the outfit, because our outfit is kind of rendered on a layer basis. So like we render the naked player first. Like this is the player we render neutrally, and then we render red on top. So like I guess I'm trying to say that when we add our pushing, we need to add another sprite sheet for the outfit we're wearing and what that looks like when we're in a pushing animation, because we're rendering the same sprite no matter what for our player, but depending on the tunic, we render the tunic over this current sprite. And same with like if we have our loot equipped, we render the loot on top of our player. So it doesn't matter which color tunic we're wearing, the loot kind of renders on top. I just noticed there's a bug in our loot render. Okay, where are we rendering the loot itself? Because this this is actually like the loot state. It's not the actual loot that we equip from our inventory system. Do we really not? Where are we rendering the loot equipped? Because we have that. Loot equip is just this global drawable. Okay, here. Item slot 1 for loot equip. Okay, we need to set our color here. We do set it here. Okay, so where? Okay, right here we're not setting the color. Okay, that should fix that. Learning Love and Lua. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Like I'm very much a beginner still. I'm teaching myself about it. Cool. Yeah, Elemental. I really like Lua. It's really simple for beginners. It's super powerful with Love2d, so I'm really happy with it. You know, I'm trying to figure out 2D before I try to do any 3D stuff, so I'm more than happy sticking with Love2d for a while until I can ship something a little more substantial, because before this game, the biggest thing I've done was an arcade game, so, you know, I'm trying to just make something a little bigger than an arcade game, and then move on. Keep building, you know, bigger and better things. Okay. I'm going to take off this dialog box render just because it's kind of... We're not doing any collision detection for our dialog box at the moment, so I just want to take that off. Okay, so today we did end up adding... Well, I'm going to check if the loot is fixed now. It was rendering a different color for the loot depending on what... Oh, see? Oh, that's wrong too. It kind of like... See how it's disappeared here? It's like we don't reload the loot upon a tunic switch until we have an input, so that's wrong. Proper structure in Lua will work fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm not at the super performant part. I'm still trying to just learn how to think about these things, you know, because game dev has so many layers to it in terms of data design, and it's a lot. So I'm trying to just get practice building simple things, and then I can worry about performance. That's another reason why I chose a Game Boy game, because I'm like, I really, you know, I'm not going to try to optimize anything. I want it to run on any hardware. I'm not trying to have it be something super intense. I just want to try to figure out how to build a game with different scenes and dialogues and stories and levels and all that stuff. Okay, so we need to fix this loot issue. I'm not going to get to it tonight, but we'll leave us a note for it. Why do I do this? Okay. Yeah, we'll have to fix that. So There's some housekeeping stuff we want to fix, like the magic numbers for the collision. I really want to fix that. It's not, it's technically working right now, but I really don't like how disgusting it is. So that's probably coming up in the next couple days. We'll probably fix this loot bug, loot equip. We need to fix that, and then we need to fix the magic number collision bug. And then what else? We added immovable objects, so we'll need to add the ability to push. So yeah, once we get we'll have to draw the pushing sprites for left, right, up, and down, and then we'll need to be able to detect a push when we're holding continuous input and we're colliding with something. So we'll have to worry about triggering that as a field within our player, and then changing our animation based on the direction as well as whether or not we're pushing or not. Change the animation state. And then we need to add the actual ability to push an object, which is a whole nother problem, because it's like if you're pushing against a pushable object and the space next to the object in the direction you're pushing is available, which is a whole nother thing. It's like it's only available if any of the tile IDs at any of the layers. So our ground level layer tile ID cannot be equal to a collidable map object enum, as well as the above ground level tile ID cannot be equal to a collidable map object enum. If all that's true, then we can then trigger an update within the pushable object to scoot it to the next adjacent tile, if you pushed it long enough, or whatever that turns out to be, and your green tunic is equipped. So then we can worry about whether or not things are permanently pushed, or which key items are pushed to like reveal something like the forest biome versus something like a crate that you can just push in order for you to walk around it, or that sort of deal. So we're gonna have to figure out how to reset certain default pushable objects and or keep things pushed if they're supposed to be a one and done kind of push. Because it'd be annoying to push the thing to get into the forest biome, to push a log out of the way every time you want to go into the forest biome. So we'll probably set certain push items that only need to be moved once. Yeah, I mean, that's basically all we did, was add the pushable class. We'll call it a night. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll try to get... Let's say we're going to fix the magic number stuff tomorrow, because that's just gross. So we'll fix magic numbers tomorrow, and maybe we'll fix loot stuff tomorrow. Hey, thanks for the follow, Loki. I appreciate it. I've been streaming the whole progress of this game from day one on my YouTube channel, so, and on Twitch, but all the VODs get dumped on my YouTube, so if anyone's ever curious about the very beginnings of this project, it's all over on my Finding Focus YouTube, and I try to stream as often as I can here on Twitch, trying to make daily progress, because I want this game to be done. I set a 2-year time span when I started, and it's already, gosh, we're almost, in February it'll be 1 year development on the game, of almost daily development, so I think I'm behind schedule. But we've got a lot of the bones in place. Yeah, Loki, I encourage you to try more Love2d and Lua, but I'm by no means like a authority on Love2d. I'm just sitting here trying to teach myself these things, so I hope I can help, but also like there's been countless times where people have come in here and told me things that were really good ideas that I started to incorporate. So I'm still very much learning, but I'm happy to kind of show the progress, because I think with something as difficult as game dev, I think it's really encouraging to show the struggles, because all the programmers I like to watch are 20-year experienced programmers, and I have no idea what they're doing. So I try to just talk it through and show what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So hopefully people like that and think it's interesting. But we'll raid out here. We'll find, let's see, we can raid. I know we always raid Hypnotic, but it's because he's always, oh, you know what? He's doing a game right now. I'm gonna try to raid someone who's programming. It looks like Brightside is doing some game development. He's my only friend doing programming right now, so we'll raid Brightside Movement. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. Hope you all have a good night.